As your practice grows, it's so important to be able to stay organized and keep on top of things, especially when it comes to documentation, filing insurance claims, keeping appointments straight, and getting reminders to people. Well, there's a great solution for all of that, and that is TherapyNotes. TherapyNotes is the leading electronic health record system for mental health providers. It's who I use in my practice. And so go check them out today, therapynotes.com. And if you use the coupon code Gordon, just GORDON, you can get 2 months free. So check them out today, therapynotes.com. This is the Practice of Therapy podcast with Gordon Brewer, helping you to navigate your private practice journey. This is session number 123 of the Practice of Therapy podcast. Hello, folks. I'm Gordon Brewer. Glad you found us here at the Practice of Therapy. If this is the first time for you to listen to the podcast, glad you found us. Glad you're here. Hope you'll go back and listen to some of the older episodes and take time to subscribe to the podcast wherever you might be listening to it. If you're coming back for more, glad you're back. And glad you're here. Glad you're with me. Glad you're letting me into your ears and into your lives. And speaking of our lives, how are things going for you? I don't know how many weeks into this COVID-19 crisis that we're in we are, but I think we're all starting to really feel it. I mean, it's hopefully you're staying healthy and hope you're not been directly affected by the virus. I know I've had some acquaintances that I know have been diagnosed with it, but other than that, my family and those close to me are all staying healthy, which is a good thing. I know in my practice where that's the majority of the conversation with the clients. It's just, it's a weird time. And I think everybody universally is feeling the anxiety of it and the weight of it. I'm not saying anything new. I think that's the thing. We all feel it. I know with my practice, I've gone to 100% online counseling now and, doing that. And we've made the transition. Few little technical glitches with some of the platforms, but we're managing, got backup plans and that sort of thing with meeting with clients. And, the one thing that this crisis is doing, which I think is just really, a good thing, is it's really causing us to think about things differently. It's causing us to think outside the box, if you will, and just be creative with things. We're having to change. We've had to make a rapid change in the way we do things, particularly in this business and for all businesses, really. I mean, we're just doing things differently. The sad part is that it's making us, literally socially distant, which is not, I don't think is generally healthy for us, but I think we'll muddle through this and we'll get through this, and a month or two down the road, we'll look back at this and think, wow, look at all the stuff we learned. Look at what we did during this hardship, and be proud of that and really persevere with all of this. So I hope you're able to take kind of a positive attitude about all of this. I know it's on our minds constantly, and it's something that's the topic of all our conversations. The one thing that I'm always reminded of is, for those of you who've seen the recent Fred Rogers movie, and just a quote of his that I love, and that is, look for the helpers. And I think one of the things about us in this profession is we're trying to be helpers. We're trying to be able to, help people through this tough thing we're going through, not only physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and just all the way across the board. It's just really taking a toll on people. One of the things that has come up for me too is the fact that there are so many inspirational stories out there around this crisis. And just was watching the news this morning before I started recording this, and just people doing some creative things. And I think that's that's a great thing. And really, my guest today for the podcast is really fits in with that. I've got Derek Collins, who is an Atlanta-based therapist, and Derek is one of those people that has an inspirational story, and he's very open about that, and just talks about how when he was earlier in his life, he had been charged with some drug charges, and he turned that around. He turned his life around. And to me, that was just very inspirational. And he's also created a private practice niche that is very unique. And he's doing something that I think a lot of us just kind of shy away from. And that's doing some court mandated things, which is just really cool. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Derek and hearing his story. We recorded this back in February, before any of this really kind of got here to the United States. I think we were hearing about it from China, but anyway, that wasn't even on our radar screens back then. So, but nonetheless, I think this is a great episode. Hopefully this will be a great inspirational episode for you to hear Derek's story. Real quickly before I get to Derek, though, one of the things I wanted to let people know, and I mentioned this in last week's episode, is right now I've decided to put all of my Teachable courses, all of the courses I have on the Teachable platform for the practice of therapy, I'm letting folks have that for half price. And if you'll use the coupon code SPRING2020, you can get any of my courses at half price. And I'm going to keep it that way through the month of April. I think, in a small way, it's just giving people a break on things. I know finances are tight for a lot of people, and just wanted to give you some things, some resources that I think are very valuable resources at a discount. So anyway, that's there. And those courses include G Suite for Therapists, which with any of my courses, if you purchase the course, when I update things later, you still get those updates. They'll still be included in the course. And so anyway, I've got G Suite for Therapists. I'm going to be working on some updates for that. And that's a course that's been very popular with people, just teaching people how to use the different tools of Google G Suite in private practice. And then the other courses are Money Matters in Private Practice. And that is a course that I put together that teaches people the financial side of private practice. And with the premium version of that, I teamed up with Julie Harris, who is an accountant over at Green Oak Accounting, and they specialize in working with private practice owners pretty exclusively. So a lot of expertise there from Julie, and we teamed up to put together this course to teach you the financial side of private practice, which is something none of us learns in graduate school. So anyway, those are there. You can go to practiceoftherapy.com/ well, not slash anything really. Just go to practiceoftherapy.com and you'll see a button there at the top of the page that just says courses. And you can click on that and that'll take you to the Teachable page, the Teachable website where all of my courses are housed. And you can get those at half price. Again, you use the coupon code SPRING2020 and you can get those half off until the end of April of 2020. So I'm looking forward to you hearing about Derek and getting to hear his story and just what an inspiration he is. I'm really thankful that I've gotten to know Derek through this medium, and I'm looking forward to you hearing his story. So without further ado, here is Derek Collins. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Practice of Therapy podcast. And I'm so excited to have with me today Derek Collins. And Derek, again, is one of those people I met online. And Derek has got just a really interesting niche, and I'm anxious for you to hear his story. So welcome, Derek.
Thank you for having me, Gordon. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so glad to have you here. So as I start out with most everyone, why don't you begin by just telling us a little bit about your private practice journey and how you kind of landed where you landed?
Okay, so back a long time ago, back around 2004, I was arrested for selling bootleg DVDs and CDs, and I was mandated to do an evaluation and go to some treatment classes because I ended up testing positive for cocaine, and I wasn't even there for a drug charge, but it was a felony charge for the selling of bootleg DVDs and CDs. And for me to get my criminal history wiped clean, I had to go through court mandated classes. And I ended up doing 24 weeks of court mandated classes after I graduated from college. And the first couple of weeks I hated it. And then I ended up liking it after a while. And I was like, hold on, this is interesting. And I already had my degree in psychology at the time, and I didn't know where I wanted to go with things. And I said, you know what? When I get my stuff together, I'm going to open a program just like this, because it definitely changed my life. And it enabled me to get into grad school, because at the time I was applying to grad school, but if you have a felony on your record, you cannot get financial aid. So because my record was expunged, I was able to get into grad school and get my master's degree. And the rest is history. I now have 5 offices where I provide court-mandated classes that include anger management, shoplifting, ASAM Level 1 treatment, MRT, family violence intervention program, parenting, and a whole lot more. So That's what I do.
Wow, that's quite a story. I mean, that's just, to me, what I love about that is that the fact that you're, first of all, that you're vulnerable enough to just share all that. I appreciate that. That's just awesome. But obviously, it was very life-changing for you when you went through all of that.
Yes, absolutely. It changed my life. Yeah. I thank God for that. I'm very appreciative of it. And you just never know how you're going to end up.
Right.
And through all my life experiences helped me to be successful and in this field. And now I help others to get into this field, and I train other people how to get started.
Right.
It's a great niche to be in.
Right. Well, what was really intriguing to me is that I think for kind of your average therapist to get somebody that's court mandated, in other words, somebody coming to us that doesn't necessarily want to come, but they're doing it because they have to, is kind of the kind of clients we tend to shy away from. I mean, it's kind of like, as I tell people that do come to me that are court mandated, it probably feels kind of like being sent to the principal's office, in that they're coming to the counselor, and they're having to jump through the hoops and do all of that. So it's, I think it's just amazing that you started this niche that's obviously just very much needed and very much probably wanted. And there's probably, you're changing a lot of people's lives with it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd be surprised. A lot of my clients end up becoming private clients after they complete the program. Yeah.
So how did you pull all this together? Because that's a lot of moving parts, it sounds like to me. It just, as you were figuring all of that out and thinking, okay, I went through a program and I kind of saw what they did, but I'm just thinking I'm one of these people that likes to get into the logistics of things. So how did you start to pull all of that together when the idea hit you to go this direction?
So my journey started, I worked at a treatment facility, and then a gentleman that worked at the treatment facility with me, he went and opened up a DUI school. And later, I went to go work for him. He gave me an opportunity to get some experience working at a DUI school. And I learned some stuff from him. And then I decided to do my own thing after learning from him on how to run a program. And then it took a lot of faith, because at the time I was unemployed. I started this business when I was unemployed.
Wow.
And Yeah, it was a lot of faith. I wasn't making enough money working at the DUI school, and I had to step out on faith. I said, hold on, I have to make this happen. And I started off just teaching shoplifting classes at first, and then I proceeded to add on anger management. Then I proceeded to get registered with the state of Georgia for their DUI intervention program. And I just kept on adding services, slowly adding services, taking my time. I literally started my practice with a laptop and a broken down printer in a co-op co-working space. So I tell people my space was only $99 a month, and I maximized that space. And I ran classes, and I kept on building and building. And then they got jealous because I had so many clients in there, so I had to move out of there. And then I got my second office and third office and fourth and fifth, and it just snowballed after that.
Right. So it sounds like you just really kind of hit, for lack of a better term, just kind of a gold mine, because you jumped into something that probably most counselors, therapists, that sort of thing, didn't necessarily want to do.
I'll say this. There's a lot of, actually out here in Georgia is highly competitive, and a lot of people want to do it out here. But there's roadblocks, there's hoops you have to jump, there's things that things that are put in place to make it hard for you to get in this industry in Georgia. But at the same time, if you jump through all those hoops, you do what you need to do, it can be profitable for you. But at the same time, what a lot of therapists struggle with is marketing. Right. You have to be an advertiser, and that's not something that's taught in the schools and graduate schools, how to market your services. And that's one of the things I'm really good at. I'm good at advertising. I'm good at putting myself out there. If your clients cannot find you on their phone, you can forget about it.
Right. So what have you found that was helpful in that? I mean, as far as your marketing strategy, how do you approach that? So
my marketing strategy is to get number one on Google. You have to be number one or on the first page of Google. So when someone types up alcohol and drug evaluation, my name pops up first.
Okay.
Or someone types in, I need a SAP evaluation for the DOT, my name pops up first. If somebody types in shoplifting class near me, my name, my agency pops up first. And then I literally have multiple websites. So you might see, and I'm giving away some of my secrets. I see literally on the first page of Google, 3 different websites that I have on the first page of Google. So no matter what, you have to come to me. That's how I try to do it. I try to dominate the market. Right. And not compete. That's the goal.
Yeah. Was the SEO something you learned on your own or something you outsourced?
Both is something. So the benefits of starting out on your own and not having any money, you have to figure things out for cheap. So literally I was sitting in the office and just try to be at my computer and just study different things on how to get people in the doors. At the time, I was motivated to prove to my parents that I could be a good provider. And at the time, I wasn't married to her. So I was like, I got to do this. I got to make this happen because if I don't become a good provider, she's not going to marry me, blah, blah, blah. So I got to figure out this SEO stuff. I got to figure out this court mandated stuff. So I worked on it. I outsourced my SEO. You can go to SEOclerks.com. That's a great website. You can use to outsource your SEO. You can use the Hoth.com. I use them for local search. Excuse me. You want to have a WordPress site if you can, but it's not necessary because that helps you with SEO. Most of my websites are weekly websites, but at the same time, my main website is a WordPress site because it's a stronger website for SEO. Right. And then lastly, you want to have a Google business page. and several of those if you can.
Right. Right. Yeah. So are the majority of the referrals you get through your websites?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I say about 90% of my business is through my website,
Oh, wow.
through SEO, or the other part is just word of mouth.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
all my clients through website. They my clients are aged between 18 and 30, and the first thing they go to is their cell phone to look things up. That's what they do.
Right. Yeah.
And you got to
That's
know your
a,
audience.
yeah. Yeah. Wow. It's just amazing to me that you figured all this out. I mean, it's just, um, because the stuff you're talking about is the stuff that most therapists, counselors don't really know about, and they're really intimidated by. But you really took it upon yourself to learn it and just kind of bootstrap your way into it, which is just absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just curious. Were there ever times during all of that you got discouraged and thought, I'm not gonna do this, or it's not gonna work, or anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. When I first started the business, I was told I was too young to do this work by a probation officer. I was going to their office to go tell them, hey, I'm in the area. These are my services. And I was told by the PO I was way too young to do this work. You don't belong in here. And they didn't think I was legit. And that was a time where I had to make a decision. Am I going to go right or am I going to go left? And I decided to go right and say, hey, I'm going to do this. I don't care what this person is telling me. And I'm not going to be discouraged, and I'm going to make it happen. And that's what I did.
Yeah. What was? Yeah. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. Now I'm still in business 5 offices later and highly successful. And I got the last laugh.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So how long did it, and just thinking about how you pulled all this together, what kind of time frame are we talking about?
To start a program.
Yeah. I mean, just from, I'm just thinking about, you came up with the idea, just kind of like, okay, I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. And then really in terms of when did it really just start to, I guess, grab hold and kind of take off, and you got the momentum from it?
Okay, so my first 3 months in business were the scariest months of my life. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know what I was doing. Mm-hmm. But by month 6, I was easily making $100,000 a year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Easy. Yeah. I was doing extremely well, but right. And that's with me not knowing what I was doing. Now I know what this was like 8 years ago. So I know exactly what to do, how to start a program, how to, mm-hmm. And I was doing it not knowing what I was doing. Right. But once I got going, it was extremely profitable.
Right. Well, your story sounds similar to mine in that you learned a lot of stuff the hard way, and now what's great is you're starting to share all that information with folks and teaching others how to do what you've done. So you want to talk a little bit about your training programs and what you've got available to people that are maybe interested in going into something like this?
Yes, I have a certified anger management specialist training. So if you want to get certified in anger management and learn how to teach anger management groups, I'm having actually a free training coming up in March, the end of March 28th and 29th. All I ask is that the people that come, they pay me $100 so I can cover the cost of the supplies in the venue. And I'll train you for free. And you can come to the training. That'll be in Atlanta, Georgia. Also, I have a theft and shoplifting and a theft addiction specialist training. So if you want to learn how to teach court-mandated shoplifting classes, I highly recommend that you sign up for this training. It is extremely profitable to provide these classes in your area. And then also I have a training program where I teach people how to start their own court-mandated program. And I have different tiers. They can go to my online training, or they can get coaching from me. And I can help walk them through the process from A to Z and make things easier. A lot of people are, unfortunately, they're scared when they want to embark in this journey, but there's nothing to really be afraid of. Um, there's a lot of people doing it, and unfortunately, for some people, they're only doing it part-time. So that makes room for people that are serious that want to do this full-time to excel. And that's one of the reasons, that's one of my keys to success is that I do this full-time. I don't do this part-time.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a big leap for a lot of people is it's a scary thing to kind of jump off into going from the security of maybe having a regular, quote unquote, regular job working for an agency or whatever, and then jumping into just being self-employed and all of that. It's just a huge leap for people, but you're exactly right. If you know what to do and you know the tools, it's just absolutely rewarding as it can be to do all of that. So Derek, tell folks what the best way to get in touch with you and find you online.
So the best way to get in touch with me is several ways. You can join the court mandated training group on Facebook. That's court mandated training on Facebook. You can also go to thediversioncenter.com. That's my website. You can email me at dcollins@thediversioncenter.com. And if you want to watch more about how to start a court mandated program, you can go to courtmandatedtraining.com and sign up for the webinar.
Okay, awesome. And we'll be sure to put links to all of this in the show summary and show notes so people can get easy access to that. So, Derek, I want to be respectful of your time, but what if you had anything you wanted to say to folks that are embarking on something as huge as you've done, what would you want them to know?
I would tell them, believe in yourself. That's number one. The only battle that you're going to have is with you. Once you conquer that battle, everything else is easy. So believe in yourself. I know that sounds cliche, but it's 100% the truth. Get your self-esteem up, take chances, and live and don't exist, because we only have one life to live as we know it. So I choose to live instead of exist.
Right. Well, you're
this, and I plan to design my life, not to react.
Right. Well, it's so inspirational to hear you say all that. And it sounds like your mantra is a little bit like mine. You've got to be persistent and consistent with what you do in order to succeed. And so, yeah, you're living proof of that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, well, Derek, I'm so glad you connected with me and so glad you've been on the podcast. And be sure, folks, to check out Derek's stuff and learn more about him, because he's really got some great stuff going on. And he's one of those people that has, like I said earlier, has learned a lot of it the hard way, and it doesn't have to be that way for you, and he can help you out with that. So thanks, Derek. Thanks for joining me.
All right. Thanks, Gordon. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed hearing from Derek, and I just really enjoyed hearing his story, and just really felt inspired by the things that he's doing, and just really this unique niche that he's taken on, and really trying to help people in a unique way, and really being compassionate to those folks that maybe have been caught in the legal system or caught up in that, and looking for ways to kind of get themselves out of it, as he learned to do in his own life. So be sure and check out his resources over at www.thediversioncenter.com. Yeah, check it out. Derek, thanks again for being on the podcast. He's a great guy to get to know, and I'm hopefully be able to have him again and just keep learning from him and what he's doing with in his practice and his unique niche. And, I think for me, the thing that inspired me about Derek too is the fact that he has, again, another one of those people that has really kind of has thought outside the box and really not let that imposter syndrome, so to speak, take over and limit you and what you do. We as therapists, and I think most of you out there, have a lot to offer people and have a lot of knowledge. And so you can take those things and craft them in unique ways to reach more people, instead of just doing the one-to-one way of doing things, which we typically do in our therapy practice, is really figuring out ways to do the one-to-many. And that's how you diversify your income in your practice. And I know, as I've mentioned in earlier episodes, that's been kind of a theme this year of just ways of really thinking outside the box to create other income streams for your practice. And I think now is a great time to be thinking about that. We've had to change gears, as I said earlier at the beginning of the podcast, with the whole COVID-19 crisis that we're in. We're having to think outside the box and do things differently. And now is a great time to be thinking about ways to add other services to what you do and doing it in a unique way. One of the things that, I'm doing, with the practice of therapy here is providing online courses. And I mentioned earlier that you can get those now at half price for using the coupon code SPRING 2020. But what I was going to say about that is I'm going to put a link in the show notes here to teachable.com. And that's the platform that I use. And just full disclosure, that's an affiliate link. And so if you purchase from them, I do get a commission at no extra cost to you. So I just want to be transparent about that. But it's a great platform, and I really enjoyed getting to know that platform. And they've got just a ton of resources in teaching people how to create online courses. So one idea I'll throw at you is, if you for example, if you're thinking about doing parenting classes or teaching parenting skills, you could create an online course that people can purchase from you, and you can give them a little certificate for completing it or whatever, and maybe even meet the court-mandated requirements for your state. Of course, each state is different, and so you just got to look at that state by state. But that's just one idea that to throw out there, and use the different tools that are now available for creating online content. So anyway, that's off on a tangent there, just thinking about that. But again, that's how I like to do things. I like to think creatively and think of different ways to bring in other streams of income. And I think that's how we can do it, be more efficient in our practices. And just again, I'm going to go on another tangent here, is one of the things that we need right now, and where people are struggling, is they don't have a financial buffer for their practice. And Julie Harris and I talked about that in last week's episode, the importance of having that financial buffer, that money in reserve for times just like this. And so anyway, creating a second income stream is a good way to do that, to create that buffer. So anyway, enough of my rambling on that. So be sure to check out today's sponsor for the podcast, and that is with TherapyNotes.com. They are the number one electronic health record system for mental health providers. They're who I use in my practice. In fact, in my focus group yesterday, we were just having kind of a side conversation about how much we love using TherapyNotes. They provide kind of everything you need for running a private practice, from scheduling to appointment reminders for your clients, to the electronic health record side of things, filing insurance claims. All of that is contained in TherapyNotes. And one thing that I'm hearing from them is that they are very quickly getting their telemental health platform up within TherapyNotes. So I'm really excited about that feature coming up down the road, and no better time than now for that. So, but anyway, you can check them out at therapynotes.com. And if you'll use the coupon code Gordon, just GORDON, you can get 2 months of their services for free. So go check them out. So folks, I hope you will stay healthy and safe, and huddle together virtually through this crisis. We will make it through it. And I'm just sending out good vibes to everyone out there, and keep your chin up, stay with it. We will get through this together as we are. And all the best wishes to you and yours during this time, and thoughts and prayers to everyone for, making it through. And stay healthy and well, and we'll be talking to you again. Thanks again for tuning in to the Practice of Therapy podcast, and do take time to subscribe wherever you might be listening to it. Take care, folks. You have been listening to the Practice of Therapy podcast with Gordon Brewer. Please visit us at practiceoftherapy.com for more information, resources, and tools to help you in starting, building, and growing your private practice. And if you haven't done so already, please sign up to receive the free private practice startup guide at practiceoftherapy.com. The information in this podcast is intended to be accurate and authoritative concerning the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, or producers are rendering legal, accounting, or clinical advice. If you need a professional, you should find the right person for that.